Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another Walking Dead child character video. Okay, so this one is going to be fairly detailed, and it's also going to be a little bit longer than the others. We're looking at all of the kids from Jocelyn's group. All of them. Now, I could have done them in pairs, like I have done with some other groups, but quite honestly, I figured seeing as they're all in one episode, I may as well just combine all the kids into one video. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Mitchell, Linus, PJ, Gina, and the other unnamed 8 kids, 2 of which have the actors' names confirmed, so they'll be referred to by their respective surnames. But the others, though, we don't know the actors, so I'm just going to have to come up with little nicknames for them. So Mitchell is, of course, male. He is played by Joey Simons. He is 16 to 18 years old, and, of course, first appeared in Scars. Linus is male. He's played by Luke David Blum. He is 8 to 10 and appears in Scars. Gina is female. She is played by Jessie Goai. She is 16 to 18 and first appears in Scars. PJ is female. She is played by PJ Henley. She is 8 to 10 and first appears in Scars. Then we have Gower. She is played by Ainsley Gower. She is 10 to 15 and first appears in Scars. We have Capranegro. He is of course male. He is played by Jeffrey Capranegro. He is 14 to 17 and first appears in Scars. The others don't have actors, but we'll have to just give them some little nicknames. So we have Straight-Haired Girl. She is, I guess, 14 to 16. She first appears in Scars. We have the Gun-Toting Kid. He's fairly older, like 15 to 17 maybe? I don't know. Bit of a guess. First appears in Scars. This kid, we'll call him Black-Haired Boy. He is, we'll say, 7 to 10. I don't know. We have Curly-Haired Girl here. She is like 10 to 13 maybe. We have Ginger-ish Haired Girl. It's more brown, light brown anyway, but whatever. She's like 7 to 10. And then finally we have Bun Girl. She's got a hair and a bun. She looks the youngest, to be honest, probably like 5 to 8. Anyway, so yes, that is all 12 of the kids in total. Wowza. So nothing is known about their lives before the outbreak. They likely lived with their parents, and some of the older ones would have gone to elementary school. Maybe Mitchell would have gone to middle school. Some of them, though, like the Bun Girl, might not even have been going to school yet, and likely were just toddlers when the outbreak began. When the outbreak did begin, though, they eventually all joined Jocelyn's group, likely along with their parents. They were all taught how to hunt, Linus especially being one of the better ones. Other than Jocelyn, though, none of the adults in the group made it. Now, it's possible also Jocelyn had them killed in some way, wanting these children as her own little cult followers, but it's a little unclear. They may have died naturally, or Jocelyn may have killed their parents in some way. She clearly also kidnaps kids though, so again, it's possible that some of these kids were just kidnapped from their parents too. During their time with Jocelyn, they were brainwashed into being ruthless, cunning little shits. They learned to mark their prey before killing it and gutting it, and of course they were taught how to brand and mark and all that as well. And they also did this to people too, but I don't think they ate the people though, but honestly, who knows? Over the years, they learned to be loyal to Jocelyn, and due to Mitchell's age, he assumed the role of second in command. At one time, they hid in a factory, it becoming one of their regular meet points, and just before the episode, off screen, Mitchell, joined by Jocelyn and Winnie, were wandering in the woods when Jocelyn injured herself. They were found by Rosita and Scott, and brought back to Alexandria. In Season 9, in a flashback, Mitchell stands at the gates of Alexandria as Scott explains to Michonne where he found them, and then of course Mitchell witnesses Michonne and Jocelyn recognise each other. Mitchell then accompanies the Alexandrians sometime later to the factory, confirming to the group this is one of the places that Jocelyn would hide them all in, assuring that some of the kids would come here. Winnie goes through a vent and Eugene compliments the skill and asks Mitchell if she will come on back. But he says, will she mosey on back? And so Mitchell confirms that, yeah, she will mosey. Winnie then opens the locked door and Mitchell walks on through with the rest of the group. He whistles to alert any of the other kids, and with that whistle, all of the kids reveal themselves, of course, including PJ, Gina, Linus, and the other 8. And then they all head back to Alexandria with Mitchell, Winnie, and the Alexandrians. After this, off-screen, Linus and Winnie go out and hunt some food, and they come back with a lot of food because they're very good hunters, it seems. A night or two, maybe more, passes, and they all attend a little bonfire, along with the rest of Alexandrians children and, of course, the adults. They play the quiet game, and the curly-haired girl, she almost laughs as Gabriel covers his eye. But Marcus, who's Scott's adopted son, he laughs and he loses, and Linus points out that he lost. And then, of course, Mitchell and the other kids laughed. They erupt in laughter because Marcus lost the game again. They then play the quiet game again, and Mitchell comments that Marcus might win this one. During the next few days and nights, the kids all have like little sleepovers, and Judith, Alice, Marcus and Jonah, they all attend and they seem to enjoy it. However, one night during these sleepovers, Jocelyn directs Mitchell, Linus, PJ, Gina and the other 8 children to kidnap Marcus, Jonah, Judith and Alice. They then raided the pantry and killed Russ while doing so, and they also raided the infirmary and they escaped through the sewers. It's unsure which kid killed Russ, but seeing as the footprints are so small, I'm guessing it wasn't Mitchell. It likely was Linus, Gina, PJ or Winnie, or one of the others. The kids then headed to the Milton Charles School for the Gifted, where they kept the kidnapped kids and were also holding up. One day though, PJ was returning when Michonne called out to her. PJ takes out her knife and runs in a hurry. Michonne is led into a trap though. It was all a ruse, and PJ leads Michonne directly to all the other kids who hold weapons to her. Daryl follows Michonne and joins her. And of course there's a little bit of a standoff as he holds his crossbow. Michonne asks where are the kids, but Mitchell coldly demands that they both drop their weapons. Winnie suddenly shoots Daryl with an arrow, and then the gun-toting kid steps forward with his gun. Mitchell then repeats his command to Michonne, and Michonne complies and puts her sword down. But then Linus decides to walk up and knock her out with the butt of his weapon. Rude, Linus, rude. Off screen, the kids tie up both Michonne and Daryl and bring them to this little marking room. They obviously heat up their brand, and Mitchell and Linus are in the room with Winnie and the gun-toting kid, and of course Jocelyn sitting in the corner. Then Michonne, of course, awakes. Linus marches over with the brand and he brands Daryl's back with an X. Linus looks to Jocelyn and she tells him well done, and he repeats her mantra that the strong survive. And look, you can see the gun-toting kid. He's standing on guard at the door. Then the kids present all watch Winnie do what Linus did, but this time to a pregnant Michonne. Yikes. Off screen, Daryl gets free. He then overpowers the gun-toting kid, choking him and knocking him out. Daryl then ties up the kid. Mitchell, Gina and Linus are walking with Winnie and Jocelyn when they see Michonne and Daryl escaped. Winnie blows a whistle, alerting the other kids to head to the camper. Gina steps forward with Michonne's sword and aims it at the pregnant Michonne. Suddenly, Capranegro escorts the kidnapped kids to the exit door. PJ holds Judith's hand as they run out quickly to the camper, helped by Gower and I think the bunhead girl too. Capranegro then locks a chain on the door. Linus steps forward with a knife at Michonne, saying, "Mark our kill and kill our mark." Mitchell and Jocelyn rush off whilst Gina and Linus attack. Gina lunges at Michonne with the sword, but Michonne pushes her into a wall. Michonne then tells Gina that she doesn't want to hurt her, but Gina lunges again, so Michonne hits her with the pipe and Gina drops the sword. Michonne goes for the sword, but Linus jumps in and attacks, stopping her. He then slashes her pregnant belly. An angry Michonne swings her pipe, gets her sword back, and then staves off the two, who then flee. Gower, Capranegro and PJ escort the kids in the process. Capranegro and Gower then watch as Michonne is beaten by Jocelyn with a plank of wood, as PJ helps to load the kidnapped kids onto the camper. Michonne though gets the sword, and the kids witness Jocelyn being killed by Michonne. Hey, look, there's the girl with the bun. Mitchell, PJ and Gina, they stand there. They're angry. They're ready to fight Michonne now that she's killed Jocelyn. And of course, they're joined by Gower, Capranegro, Bun Girl and Linus. Michonne offers for them all to come to Alexandria, but Mitchell, now assuming charge, orders Winnie to kill all the kidnapped kids and orders the rest of the kids with him to attack Michonne. He charges at Michonne, but she easily puts him on his ass. She faces off to Gina, Linus, PJ, Bun Girl, Gower and Capranegro. Winnie rushes off to kill the kids and Michonne calls out to her, "No, Winnie, don't," but behind her, Mitchell gets up, ready to strike again. She easily catches his weapon with her sword, and this is a bit tricky because this is when it cuts away, so I'm going to count this as off screen. Off screen, she slices his stomach open and kills Mitchell. Damn. Linus charges at her next. Michonne grabs his arm, telling him to drop his weapon, but Linus just screams like an animal. As Michonne fights with Linus, his weapon inches away from her pregnant belly. Capranegro charges forward screaming. Michonne does this to Capranegro. Struck with Michonne's sword. By the looks of it, probably decapitated. Off screen, Michonne also killed Linus and most likely Gower too. Gina and PJ then charge forward screaming. Michonne in one swoop with her sword does this to the two girls. Michonne slices Gina's neck open and decapitates PJ. Damn. It can be assumed that off screen, Bun Girl also charged at Michonne and she was forced to kill her too, I guess. Although she seems so timid, but we don't see her after, so I can only assume that she did and was killed. Meanwhile, whilst all this was happening, Daryl was out and about within the school, and he must have killed straight-haired girl, black-haired boy, curly-haired girl, and the gingerish, brownish-haired girl too. I only assume this as he took his sweet-ass time navigating through the building, so clearly he came into trouble, and the fact that when he comes out, both of his knives were fresh with blood. So I feel like they gave him no other choice too, and he was also forced to kill these kids. And like we see in the present, both Daryl and Michonne are particularly scarred by this day, so I feel like Daryl was forced to do it too. As for the gun-toting boy, I don't know. He was tied up by Daryl, so he may have been left there or brought back to Alexandria, but seeing as we have no indication of this, it's quite possible that Daryl either A, accidentally killed him when choking him out, or B, was just killed by Daryl as he was one of the older kids, and it was now clear that these kids were deadly as fuck and they weren't coming back to Alexandria, so I don't know. I'm gonna say Daryl killed him one way or another. As for their bodies, it's likely that Daryl and Michonne stopped them from reanimating, and then they may have buried them or just left their bodies there to rot, but I kind of hope they buried them at least. Jeez. Anyway, R.I.P. Mitchell, Linus, Gina, PJ, Capranegro, Gower, Bun Girl, straight-haired girl, black-haired boy, curly-haired girl, and the gingerish haired girl. Oh, and the gun-toting kid. Forgot the gun-toting kid. R.I.P. him too. So yikes, that was depressing to cover. Now I think the psychology the kids follow is a little cringe, and the whole kill the mark thing. But overall, this episode and these kiddos as antagonists was a fucking great idea, and at the same time, really dark. The fact Michonne had no choice but to slaughter them like walkers was fucking brutal, man. And I really wish we did this more morally grey stuff like this, you know? I mean, to be clear, Michonne had no choice. I think she's ethically okay. But she did kill, like, 6 kiddos. So, geez. Their deaths explain why Michonne has been so cold, so isolationist, but also serves as a touching moment for her and Judith later in the episode. In the present, I mean. It's really Jocelyn's fault. She brainwashed these kids to the point where Michonne and Daryl had no other way. It was them, Judith, or Jocelyn's kid. And of course, we all know what they were forced to pick, because Judith all the way. Wow. Okay. Trauma. Yikes. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one for another Walking Dead child character video. This one's really light-hearted, isn't it? Goodbye.